The Director of Public Prosecutions said he wanted to answer questions from the public because he felt it's important for justice to be done and to be seen to be done, and for people to have confidence in the system.
There are, I would say, 40 or 50 toxic people on social media who seem to have an agenda in seeking to undermine the RGP and prosecutions as much as possible. The RGP have weeded out and have prosecuted their own, so to speak. So in that regard, the system works.
Christian Rocca conceded there had been a few issues with police officers who had been charged with offences that had slightly undermined confidence in the system.
The Crown doesn't offer no evidence because it doesn't feel like it. The Crown offers no evidence because a prosecutorial test is no longer met. And that could be because new evidence has arisen, as I've said, new witnesses have come to light. You may have a case where the victim has left Gibraltar and we can't find them or no longer wishes to attend. We may not want to summons them because, let's say, for example, someone has mental health issues and no longer wants to go through a trial. So there are public interest factors that come into play here. The toxicity on social media attacking the police, attacking the judiciary.
Unlike in the UK, there is no legal requirement in Gibraltar for defendants to give police passwords to their devices.
It can take 6, 9 months, 12 months to get into telephones.
And elsewhere there is such
in
provision
some countries
in law.
There are. In the UK there is under the RIPA provisions, so there are provisions, and it's a crime punishable with quite a stiff sentence if you don't provide the password. That's been looked at in Gibraltar.
Would you like to see that law implemented locally?
I would, and it's been looked at.
The DPP was asked about his handling of the case of Carolina Lishman, who was killed by her husband in 2017.
My conduct of that prosecution was looked at by the Admissions and Disciplinary Committee. That's 3 very senior lawyers. The findings of that was that we did absolutely nothing wrong and we acted perfectly, properly and appropriately. There should be no lack of confidence in relation to that decision because it was checked and rechecked by 3 lawyers.
One listener asked the Director of Public Prosecutions, how can people have faith in the justice system when you yourself admitted during the McGrail inquiry that if someone else at Glacis had tried to stop a search warrant, he would not have been given the quota that James Levy KC was?
Yes, I think it does. And that was an error that was made. People do make mistakes, Jonathan, and people live and learn, I think.
So is the justice system independent?
I can assure listeners that I and my department are completely free from any political interference. I never get a phone call from anybody to interfere in the prosecution process, either for or against defendants or victims.
Regarding punishment for those convicted of a crime, Mr. Rocca said judges don't make up sentencing.
The number of times I read on social media that so-and-so would have got a far worse sentence in England and we're too lenient. The sentencing guidelines that apply to Gibraltar are the same sentencing guidelines that apply in England and Wales. There's no different.
GBC asked the Director of Public Prosecutions whether Parole Board summaries should be made publicly available as they are in the UK. He said his office does not make parole decisions, and though there are likely reasons why it doesn't happen at the moment, he said it probably makes sense to make Parole Board summaries available to the public.